Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jiaxin from Luxbags. As you can already see from my background, today I'm showcasing my enviable Dior saddlebag collection. Those of you who follow me on this channel or who have visited my website know that I'm a big fan of vintage handbags. I started this business by selling vintage Fendi baguettes. The Fendi baguettes would always have a special place in my heart and they are my absolute favorites. And ranked just number 2 is Dior saddlebags. The Dior saddlebags, vintage model, are such great addition to any collection. They are favorites to many handbag collectors because each of them is like an artwork. Even if you don't wear them, it's just amazing to look at them, don't you think? I'd also like to make a comparison video of the newer Dior saddlebag model versus the vintage saddle model, and I'm going to put it out there. Don't spend $4,000 on a new Dior saddle handbag. Buy a vintage saddlebag. They're so much more fun, so much more practical, and so much more collectible. And there are so many variations to choose from, so much more unique as well. Make a statement with the Dior saddlebag. Don't go with the flow and get the modern Dior saddlebag because they just don't have as much character as the vintage models. A little history about the saddlebag. It was first released in 1999, designed by the then creative director John Galliano. After its debut on the runway, it soon became a much talked about accessory because of its funky shape. It looks like a kidney, meant to be carried underdown, which started a new trend at the time. It has multiple iterations, became a much loved accessory by many celebrities and fashionistas. The Dior saddlebag was not without its critics. Some people found the shape a bit too bold and too maybe ahead of the time. Well, that doesn't stop it from being one of the most classic designs of the Dior fashion house. The modern saddlebag was reissued in 1918, designed by the current creative director of Dior, Reissue. The reissues features mostly two types of material, the leather and canvas version. The leather comes in grain leather, smooth leather, and also matte leather with the matte finish on the hardware. The canvas version, the most popular one, would be the one with the Dior monogram that's reissued in black and blue, and it also comes in many of the variations of the canvas print. Vintage saddlebags come in very wide range of materials, including calfskin leather, exotic leather, canvas, silk, velvet, denim, and glitter. You name it, we have it. Sometimes cloth as well. They both sport the same kidney shape. The vintage saddlebags come in a very wide range of colors and patterns. As you can already see behind me, most of my collections are vintage saddlebags. They come in, the patterns on the Dior saddlebags are what make me fall in love with them. They come in such electric patterns, and for example, this vintage Dior saddlebag with Bob Marley prints, it is one of the most sought after Dior saddlebag on the market because the handbag is made of denim, and with the side and the strap are made of red leather. When you open this handbag, you can see Bob Marley print over there. Hence, this is called the Dior saddlebag with the Bob Marley print. I don't know if it has another name, but this is how I call it. This Jamaican style color combination of blue, red, yellow, and green is just so electric. This is a great piece that can spice up any outfit, be the talk of party anywhere you go. The modern Dior saddlebags are a little bit more toned down. It comes in mostly in the neutral colors and the classic colors like black, white. The leather ones are all plain. You have a bit more choices in the canvas versions. The modern Dior saddlebags don't come in such interesting designs anymore. So what I have here is a modern design Dior saddlebag in red smooth leather. This is the smooth leather version. A more popular choice is the green leather, which has a green finish on top of the leather, which is a lot more resistant to scratches. However, this one, I think it's a calfskin leather. It looks a little bit like box leather, but I'm not sure if it is box, so it is a bit more prone to scratches. So a little bit more details on the differences in the design between the modern and the vintage model. Another big difference is that the clasp, the modern model has a magnetic clasp. When you open it like this, so this part is magnetic, so you can close it up like this. It closes up pretty neat. And it has a back pocket for you to put in some small essentials like a bus card. The vintage model's closures are made of Velcro, and it also has a back pocket which has a magnetic closure. The magnetic closure is missing on the modern model. I think the magnetic closure on the modern model is more clever because it's silent and it closes up really neat, and you don't have to worry about damaging the material around the opening. However, for the vintage model, the Velcro makes quite a loud sound. Maybe sometimes that bothers you. In terms of the sizes, I think the modern model looks just slightly bigger than the vintage model in terms of the width and the length, and on the thickness part it is quite obvious, and that the modern model is a lot bigger than the vintage model. In terms of the hardware is another big difference. These two are the vintage models. So you can see that the vintage model can come in a gold and silver hardware, but the modern model only has gold hardware. In terms of the hardware finish, they can be quite different as well. So the vintage model, they can be quite sharp on the edges, whereas the modern model is a little bit more curved. As you can see that the modern models and Clasp seems to be a bit shorter than the vintage models, and the big difference is this middle part. They have changed from this looks like a peanut to something that's straight. This is what frustrates me the most. As a reseller, I'm going to tell you that it is very difficult to authenticate the modern Dior saddlebag because there are so few places to look at. And one main thing that they've removed, and I hope they haven't, is they have removed the engraved metal on the saddlebags. When you look at the vintage models, you have the engraved Christian Dior brand name at the back of the metal. On the modern model, you can't find that anymore. Another place where they've removed engraving is that over here, there's also an engraving on the D. Modern model, there is nothing. We're gonna talk about the authentication points later, but let's finish the design. I actually think you could get a Dior strap that has this similar hardware finish. The vintage saddlebags are true work of art. Each piece is a unique, iconic design by John Galliano himself. Imagine owning a piece actually designed by the legendary designer John Galliano. I would kill for it. While the modern Dior saddlebags are a bit more understated, has this subtle elegance that might go with the current trend, quiet luxury. Now I want to move on to talk about the practicality side of the things. The modern saddlebag is very heavy. It weighs about 800 grams. If you want a matching strap, together they can be as heavy as 900 grams. And that's a lot of weight to put on your shoulder without even putting in anything inside. While the vintage model is a lot lighter, it's about 500 grams, depending on the material you choose. If you choose like the denim version, they are usually quite light. You can find one that's under about 400 grams. Well, the reason that the modern Dior saddlebag is so heavy for a few reasons. One thing is that the leather are very sturdy. They're made of really good material. They're very thick. All the saddlebags are lined with suede, and you can actually take the lining out. I'm not going to take it out. Hence, it means there are 2 layers of leather in this bag, making it extremely heavy. And all the hardwares are very heavy duty, as another point for the weight. And in terms of how much it fits, I don't think there is a notable difference. Because of this shape, Dior saddlebags are not known to fit a lot of things. So if you usually run around carrying a lot of stuff, find another bag. Even though you have seen on the video that the modern model is slightly wider than the vintage, but I don't think it has that much give. Yeah, yes. So this is as much as I can go. And I actually noticed that the vintage model has a lot more give because the material is much softer, so you can fit a lot of stuff in this. I know you've been looking at my whole collection and I've only been talking about these 2, so I want to show you the rest as well. So this is a really fun piece that reminds me of circus. You have these little pom-poms and the color, this pink, orange, mustard yellow. This is just so loud and I love it. I'm a very loud person when it comes to dressing, and I love only colors. I have very few black clothes in my closet. And this saddlebag with glitter, look at this, isn't it just amazing? The patchwork, it says peace and love Dior. It's all handmade with sewings and glitters. Fun fact, this is not a vintage saddlebag. You can tell that from the hardware. Denim Dior saddlebags are generally a more budget option for the Dior saddlebag, but they usually resell for much lower prices. So this I would think is a perfect day-to-day handbag where you can carry it and go on errands and not look too over the top. It's also perfect for somebody who's just starting out with a designer handbag collection. If you want the first designer handbag, a vintage Dior saddlebag in denim, I think personally is a great option to go. Let's talk about authentication. That's something I mentioned just now in the design that the modern models are more difficult to authenticate because they don't have any engraved. When you try to authenticate by pictures, engraved metal parts are such an important component to look at because fakers, they can't really engrave metal that well. Gonna be very clear, don't have clean lines. With the modern model, the only place to authenticate over here, so there is a brand logo, date code over here, which explains which year this is manufactured. Last four letters, the second and the last, mean the year that is made. So this is made in 2018, and 05 means May. So it means this handbag is manufactured in May 2018. Only engraved metal part on this saddlebag is the zip that has CD printed on it. The vintage saddlebag, the engraving here is so clean and clear. It says Christian Dior. This is a major authentication point when it comes to vintage saddlebag. And inside, at the same place, you have the brand logo, Christian Dior, Paris. This is made in January 2013. The last note, in terms of personal style, if you always go for a polished look, if the quiet luxury is your kind of thing, go for the modern Dior saddlebag because they are more subtle, they're understated. If you have enough classic pieces and you just want something that gives a bit of an extra to your outfits, go for the vintage saddlebags. And in my opinion, I rate vintage saddlebags 10 out of 10 as a handbag investment. You really get your money worth. And in terms of the price points, a modern Dior saddlebag costs about $4,000 if you buy from the Dior store. Even if you go to the second-hand market, they can still fetch about $3,000. Whereas the vintage model, you can get them for as low as $1,000, which is the denim version. And for something that's a bit of extra, you pay about $2,000, $2,500. And that would give you a really unique piece to collect and to use and pass it down to your daughters.